Hey y'all, welcome back. So, Nine of Wands today. High energy card. Pretty intense. Mostly straightforward, but it's got some nuances that can make it a little bit more difficult. I find this to be a difficult card to interpret sometimes in my own spreads. So we'll start with some of the more basic meanings, and then maybe, as usual, like an intermediate meaning or something like that, somewhere that you can take it that isn't just the basics. Probably if you're seeing this card, it's probably talking about some kind of intense moment or intensity. The Nine of Wands is usually the last push, depicting somebody on their last leg, depicting somebody who just needs to go the last mile. You're almost there, and so for that reason, it's indicating the hardship, the exhaustion that you're feeling in that moment, and the momentum needed to finish it out. If you look at the journey of the Wands the whole time, the Nine of Wands is actually really good at kind of summarizing that into a culminating statement, which is the Wands are energy. They are spirit. They are tackling problems head on. And so there's a bit of maybe a more like long-term way of looking at this. If what I said before about being at the end is a short-term way of looking at it, a more long-term way of looking at this card could be the ultimate result of the Wand suit is actually not as happy as we would have liked it to have been. So if you're following the story, a lot of what it's talking about here is if you always try to solve your problems with brute force, you end up exhausted. You end up feeling defeated, or it's grueling. It's a long process. If you get this card, it could be saying, yeah, you could go down that path, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough, especially if it's paired with the Seven of Wands. It's saying, like, do you really want to go through all of that work? Is that really the best approach? Like, maybe try something more diplomatic. Instead of going in there, maybe having a relationship problem, trying to talk that issue out, it's saying maybe come in with a little bit more understanding, work on connecting, mutual understanding on some ideas, instead of just coming at them with your feelings. You know, same thing could be in a business partnership or something like that. However you want to slice that one. But they could talk less so about where you're at in the situation and more so about what's being implied about the journey as a whole. Not to discourage you on this journey that we've been on. I think we've used like various analogies like diet and whatnot. Hopefully that has an optimistic and positive ending, but at this point we're kind of talking more about the meta of the Wands in general and the element of fire in general. One last way you could look at this, kind of stems into that a bit, is projection. The card could be talking about how do you look at things. So generally the card is depicted with somebody kind of like sloped over, and there's 8 wands behind them, and they have the 9th. And how do they view those wands behind them? Is that a wall that's barring them from passing? Is that aggressors? Or is that the history of all of the fights that they've carried? And that staff in their hand, that's them ready to fight once more? Or is that the trophies of accomplishment? Is that how far they've come? So you could look at this as a perspective check and say, are you looking at things looking for a fight? Kind of like the Seven of Wands again? Are you looking at your past as a victimization? Or are you looking at this as a statement of empowerment? Are you looking at the situation as, look what I've been through, look how I've grown, look what I've come? It could be a reflection of your journey, of this diet that we've, whatever that endeavor has been. So it could be a last push. It could be saying, be careful. Are you sure you want this? And it could be saying, hey, good job. Or, hey, open your mind up a little bit. Maybe look at things a little bit differently. So, a couple ways to look at that card. And we will end next video with the 10 of Wands for the numbers. And then we'll get into the 4 baddies. So, stick with me. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.